No, 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 no heroes. Woo! No, 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 no heroes. No heroes, baby.
Hello everybody, my name is Jan Birkemeyer and I'm here to commentate Justin versus ONUR from week 6 of the German NCL for you. We have a Shanks against a Lucci matchup, which we haven't seen so far. Maybe we have seen one. Justin piloting the Lucci, and I think generally this should be Lucci favorite, kind of depending on how many 5-cost aces the Shanks player sees. And yeah, we do see the Kuzan on curve, which is obviously one of the most crucial pieces for Lucci to see. And we do have the very first 5-cost ace right on curve as a great response. Just encountering the 5k swing with his Brook there. So that either tells me that he has a Rebecca or another Brook in hand, because usually you would be ready to answer any 5-drop with that Brook easily. So we might just see Rebecca coming down here to still retrieve that Brook and play it down, simply to have some more board presence and protection. For one, we're gonna maybe play Spandam. Yep. He does find a Lucci. And now a Rebecca for the aforementioned Brook into Brook. So ONUR drawing up to his 7-don turn right now. Quite a grip of cards in hand, looks like 7 or 8 cards. Swinging 5k, assumedly at Brook, which gets a 1k from just inside. Not a 1k, a 2k, of course. And 6k into Brook again, which could provoke this block from Rebecca. And then usually we could expect Ben Beckmann coming down to destroy the Kuzan if ONUR has everything on curve, and he does, crucially taking care of this Kuzan. Now ace is rested though, so a potential opportunity for Justin to swing into it. But his 8-don turn approaches. He does have a Kuzan in his trash, so he might be tempted to go for a value gecko. That would also mean that he's losing his swing to Shanks' leader ability though. And yeah, I think the dynamic of this matchup is also like dependent on how many ice ages the Lucci player sees. But this in itself seems like a good start for ONUR. Of course, Justin didn't have a bad start either with the Kuzan into Rebecca. Not really too much more you could ask for. Spandam didn't whiff, that's always great. And we are definitely not going for a gecko line, but there might be a jack coming down. So first off, we have Tsuru reducing Beckmann down to 5. Could also be an attempt at removing ace, but I don't think you would invest at Tsuru just to then go jack on the ace. He would reduce his power by 2k and then you could swing 5k into the ace. We milled our 3rd Brook already and 1 gecko. So now we're swinging 4, nothing happens, and jack is coming down to kill the Ben Beckmann. That's actually quite expensive, but Justin does get that Lucci into trash with the use of jack's ability, which potentially allows him to go for a powerful 10-don turn with double event and gecko next turn. But Justin is fairly low on cards in hand, having to expend this Tsuru. Now his Brook also gets picked off easily. 5 cards in hand for Justin. Both players still at 4 life. So in some cases, ONUR could just attach all of his don to leader and swing into this jack, and I think he would be totally fine because he still has the board control. And Justin would be sort of in the position to prove something. But we are going to see deployment of further characters There might also be some reduction with Rayleigh. Yeah, that's actually what we're going to see. Otama into Ben Beckman, okay, yeah. Otama into Rayleigh would have also worked, but then of course we could not have done a 6k swing, so that's actually really huge. Insane tempo swing there for ONUR. Basically, Ben Beckman reading as an 8 cost that says, okay, you have to trash a card from hand because you used Otama, but you get to KO an opponent's 8k power character, which is obviously very strong. Now Justin checking his trash, so we can assume that there's a gecko somewhere. But starting off with a span and finding that Tempest Kick, which is that always feels so good. If your Spandam not only doesn't whiff, but also grabs you arguably your, I would say, maybe second best card in the deck. Like, Great Eruption got banned, and this is even better Great Eruption. 50% better than Great Eruption. So, yeah, Tempest Kick, once it's online, is just an absurd card. Probably targeting this Ben Beckman down to 4, swinging 6 at life, putting Ben Beckman down to 3, and potentially following up with another jack. But yeah, in this matchup, the jacks, they don't do that much in comparison to others, because Shanks doesn't really care about the cost of your characters, and he's just removing based off of power. And we might, even just a simple Rayleigh and then swinging 6 and 7 into jacks already going to be quite costly. So what is ONUR going to cook up? Also just dropping a 10 drop, swinging 5 at life, which is likely going to get countered, and then dropping a 10 drop, swinging 12 into 7 into the jack. Be extremely powerful as well. So ONUR definitely in the driver's seat for this one. Justin needed some smoother answer. Oh, but we're just seeing a dragon with an 11k swing coming in. So we might just be, or going even more. Yeah, I think that's very reasonable to just go 13 into jack, who's going to go down, and then we still follow up with a 6k to face, which you also don't really want to take, going down to 2 against, like, without any board against 2 very threatening characters. But yeah, you're also low on cards. Countering doesn't feel great either. But maybe a magical gecko turn can make it happen. Ice Age on its own, combined with your leader ability, will take care of this dragon. We do have another Tempest Kick as well, so we could try to remove Ace as well, but that would mean that, like, we have to swing with our leader before attempting to remove the Ace, because otherwise we won't get dragon down to 2 cost in time. And we also only would be able to get both of them to 2 cost if it stays like this. But we also have some reduction in trash, obviously. I think. I'm not 100% sure. We'll see what's going to happen. So ONUR at 5 or 6 cards in hand. And Justin, I think, at 4 cards in hand. Oh, having to hard play a Khalifa here is not what you want to see. So still starved for geckos. Previously we weren't sure if maybe Justin just preferred to go for the jack. But in this case, I think you would always rather just go for a gecko. Even if you couldn't remove anything, just gecko Rebecca. Maybe go for a Spadine into Lucci as well, but milling second gecko there. Now just going for either Lucci from hand or Rebecca into Spandine. Yeah. Probably replacing Tsuru bot decking 3 CP targets here to then summon a 4 cost or lower CP type character from your trash in rested mode, which will be this beautiful special art Lucci, who will then go ahead and KO Dragon and probably Otama as well. Shanks does not really have a way of utilizing that from his trash, but she might become a fierce attacker at some point. Too many people have died to 0 cost character attacks. I've fallen victim to them myself. Dangerous Rebecca's or Tsuru's in Sakazuki Mirrors. Do not underestimate every single body. So ONUR preparing for another 8-drop, it seems. Could just be another dragon. Starting off with an 8k into the Lucci, which Justin decides to let go actually, which I find quite interesting. Not sure if it's his only Lucci. And he maybe just needed that in trash. Now swinging 6 at life. So no 8-drop coming down. But we might... Oh, another ace. And keeping up 2 don for Red Hawk. So Justin would have had the option of keeping his Lucci character around this turn at the expense of 1 card from hand and the Rebecca block. But of course, it's not really possible to know that. When he's starting off with an 8k attack, you can easily expect another dragon. And yeah, again, you might as well just need the Lucci in your trash. Unfortunately, can't really make out the entirety of Justin's trash, which is half his deck at this point. So difficult position to get back from. ONUR still at 6 cards in hand, 3 life. And Justin's best attacker is a 4k. So it's going to be difficult to get through this. This first game looks like it's going to be taken by the red player. Gearing up to go for a Khalifa swing. 6k. No, just a 5k to bait lead ability. Now attaching 1 to leader. Swinging 6 at probably ace now. Using that Red Hawk to KO the Khalifa, who had just been reduced with Shank's lead ability down to 4 and therefore being in the range of Red Hawk again. So possibly Justin should have attached 1 more Don to Khalifa, because his swings are the same, right? It's 5 and 6 anyways. But he would have been able to keep his Khalifa on board. Going for the value gecko there to retrieve some counter. Interestingly enough, not going for Brook. Four cards in hand, but yeah, I guess you don't want to go down to 3, and at this point the additional Brook on board doesn't do that much. 7k going into your life. Likely just take this. Like, you cannot afford to counter there ever with 4 cards in hand. Like, you're just not winning the game then. And you might as well just counter a future swing that could potentially be smaller than 7. And worst case, you just go down to 1. We do have another 7, or is it a 6? I think it's a 7. Might even be an 8. We got double 2k anyways. And the third ace hits the board. Wow, so that's what you want to see, guys, as a Shanks player. Finding this unsearchable ace. sticking to the board, that's your way to victory. But now Justin, for the first time, having a character that can threaten this board. And that deck is actually looking really thin already. So if Justin can go for some Spandine or Lucci here, then he might actually be able to set up a Tempest Gecko cycle quite soon, assuming this game goes on for long enough. So we know that 2 geckos were milled, so Justin could have the 4th copy in his hand right now, which would then give him potential way back into this game. But yeah, these aces are such a pain to deal with. 5 cards in hand for ONUR. Are we seeing the first Ice Age of the game? We haven't seen a single one, not one milled. We have seen the Tempest kicks, but yeah, I don't think I've seen Ice Age artwork. Maybe on the Spandam from the Gecko. I didn't quite catch what that searched. So 7-ish life with lead ability, and there's the Ice Age. And also Tempest, that was Tempest number 4, I think. Justin only has like 7 or 8 cards left in deck. We went 7 into, I'm not sure. We do have the Gecko. Getting back Spandam. Finding Tempest number 4, so okay, that the milled one was only number 3 and we played the other 2. And now we... Yeah, okay. I mean, we don't bottom deck here, that's sort of the issue. We did take a Lucci though, so next turn we could bottom deck something, and we're just hitting face, trying to survive, and then maybe ending the game next turn with double Gecko and leader. That might be the best way to win here. I'm feeling a sneeze. But it's not coming yet. So 5 cards in deck for Justin. We know the bottom 3 are double Tempest and I think a Who's Who. Seven at life here. Justin did retrieve a 2k with that Rebecca. So we are blocking this right away. Are we really bricked on the rest of our hand? Find it a bit odd that we block the first 7k right away. Issue is that if we start countering, then they could pivot and swing into our Gecko. And that's what, like, Rebecca would have been a reassurance against that, because these Geckos are our only win con, right? We don't have enough time to set up a great cycle in our deck. Justin really contemplating what to do about that 7k. And he takes it, yeah? Just taking the risk of his opponent going all in for 9 and 10. Potentially baiting him into it, wanting him to commit. But ONUR, on the other hand, might be saying, okay, I have 3 cards in hand. I know that you can't kill me even with your double Gecko. And I'm just gonna start with a 7k. Like, these have been working well so far, so show me what you're gonna do this time. And this time Justin gives the Khalifa that we knew about and a 1k Hermepo. Beautiful extended artwork out of PRB. Now following up with an 8k swing, again at life presumably. Justin going down to 1, and it's a Rayleigh blocker, so there goes Justin's hope of ending this game. Anyways, I can't really tell which card ONUR just discarded. Maybe it's another Rayleigh? No, the text box not in a way. Looks like an alt art. We will never find out. Maybe we will. Alright. So Justin going into his likely last turn. Starting off with that Tempest. Now his next 3 cards are Tempest, Tempest, and Who's Who. Setting up. Okay, not putting a Gecko to the bottom. Surprising. I mean, not that it really matters. But here comes the 10k swing, which ONUR will easily be able to get out of. Going up to 10 in combination with his lead ability. Oh, and he had 2 0-cost events, so just like all the counter you could ever need, which means you could comfortably bait Justin into the all-in, because you also have to go for it. Because sometimes Shanks can also get really bricked up. And with that, we have players back for game 2, drawing up their hands of 5, seeing if they want to keep them or not. ONUR decides, this is not enough 5-cost aces, I need a new hand. And likewise Justin decides to try his luck again with a fresh 5. ONUR representing full commitment to his Shanks with the sleeves as well. Justin rocking that beautiful first regional wave champion mat that he won back in the first Mülheim regional with his smoker deck in OP-02. Very iconic. ONUR asking Justin to draw bottom 5 as his hand cards. That's quite unusual, I haven't seen that before. Starting off with a Spandam and choosing to go first, so the players are deciding that going first seems to be the preferred way in this matchup. Just going 7k alive here. Question is, do we cycle the Tempest Kick that we just searched? No, we are just gonna play another Spandam who whiffs the mandatory Spandam whiff. Cannot have a Lucci set without one. So we'll see if ONUR does have the Lucky Roux here, or if he's just gonna swing 5 and pass, but I don't think he would do that. He would probably just swing larger in that case. So this Lucky Roux coming in handy, just presenting something for Lucci to worry about and potentially invest resources in to removing him. Despite the beautiful champion mat, this Don that is being attached to leader is one of the world participation Don, which there aren't too many of in the world. So try to get your hands on one of those. Now we do see Tempest Kick into Brook, really. So we are really sacrificing our Brook there. Okay, interesting. I'm not sure how much I like that, to be fair. Now we're facing 7k into another Lucky Roux, okay. I mean, that's sort of good news in the sense that it's not an ace. But now this gets really punished by Jack, right? But you would rather just still force your opponent to have Jack, and then if they don't, this Lucky Roux is going to be annoying whenever he wants to be removed by a Lucci or a Brook, as we saw the previous turn, he's just gonna get the revenge kill right away. So no jack for Justin. ONUR countering out, now at 5 in hand. And Justin going for the removal line once again, this time investing 2 cards basically. I mean, he does have this Helmeppo sticking around on board, but that's very expensive. Like, I do understand it from the perspective that you just wanna preserve your life total, and these Lucky Roos, if they get to untap, so to say, can just hit you in the face for 7. But yeah, I don't know. Also don't know how much I like ONUR's decision to KO Helmeppo. It's obviously based upon Justin's trash, and I don't think we saw a trash check from ONUR there. And this Helmeppo can easily enable much more explosive turns than a Tsuru would have. And also, there might not be even be any reduction in trash apart from Helmeppo. But maybe ONUR just kept track of that and knows that there already is reduction, or there already is a Helmeppo in there. And he would rather just remove the potential attacker. Now Justin on his 9 Dawn turn could answer this with a Ice Age Leader Swing Gecko into Rob Lucci, but he doesn't seem to be having that, to be honest. There is the Ice Age. Maybe he does have it. Wow, he does actually have it. So that's really strong now. Grabbing that Helmeppo and not even going for a Lucci, but and actually deciding to overplay this Helmeppo. So I have the hunch that that was his only reduction, which would then mean that ONUR's decision to remove the Helmeppo was a big blunder. Like, you can also just give the Helmeppo minus 3000 without removing it, right? If you're worried on this next turn that he's gonna swing. But I think if that Helmeppo is ever gonna have some Dawn attached, then you are always happy, because that means your opponent isn't playing a big body. So yeah. Another Rayleigh coming down. Popping the Brook, going 7 to life. I mean, this gives your opponent the option of keeping Rebecca around. Like, he could have just taken that and kept the Rebecca around, which gives him more flexibility. So maybe there was a point to like KOing the Rebecca with Rayleigh and swinging into Brook. I think that just gives your opponent less options. But in these cases, there's always this argument to be made that by giving your opponent less options, you also give them less opportunity to misplay. So maybe ONUR just wanted to give Justin the opportunity to take the swing at life there, which he would have been happy about. So yeah, in that sense, I think there's an argument to be made for both sides. Starting off with a Kuzan, okay, no Gecko follow-up. Just going Kusan Sabo, which is also not bad at all. Trashing double Luccis here. With a hand like that, you really want to get the Sabo down to start filtering. ONUR at, again, 5 or 6 cards in hand, and I think Justin is at 4. Ben Beckman actually deciding to destroy the Sabo here. Okay, that's really interesting, leaving Kusan alive. Maybe his idea is to just swing 11 into Gecko. I think that would be the only fair justification for leaving Kusan alive. And then you could start off with a 5k phase. But maybe you're a bit scared that if he takes it, you're in a sort of weird situation where you also want to put your opponent to 1. But then Gecko sticks around and you're sort of wasting 3 Don. So yeah, I think 11k swing it really at Gecko is fine here. He does start to go. He does start with 5. Depending on the hand texture, I think you are sometimes fine to take this. Excuse me. Sorry, I didn't mute myself there in time for the first Räusperer, as we say in German. So we did counter the 5k with a 2k. And now we need 2 more 2ks. Okay, so we are completely flooded with 2ks. Now we should have 2 cards in hand. But if one of them is a Gecko, then the world could be ours. Starting off with 6 and 6, putting this Beckman down to 2 cost, and now a clean Gecko for Rebecca, Spender, and Lucci. Would just take care of this Ben Beckman while establishing a new blocker. And of course, a 6k and a 9k buddy. Also going for another Spandam to potentially refill our hand, and we do find a 2k. So this game is looking a lot better for Justin. Bot taking triple Tempest Kick once again, showing us that beautiful SP Lucci art. And now it's back on ONUR with 5 cards in hand, who didn't see any 5 cost ace this time around. Is there a way to claw back into this game? Another really So I'm still kind of hung up on last turn, where we decided to go to pop the Sabo. Like, I totally understand the line, but I'm just thinking if we simply do better by swinging face, just destroying Kusan and swinging face. Not sure. So unfortunately we don't quite know what got reduced by how much. We can assume that Kusan had a minus 2k reduction and this Gecko probably had a minus 3k reduction, so this was a 9k into 6k swing. We know that Justin has a 2k. But now against 2 live, 4 cards in hand, starting off with an 8k swing. If ONUR takes this, he might be facing much larger numbers in the future. So sort of forced to take 2 cards here or take the gamble. Justin could just go for an all-in here, still sitting at 3 life, which would require ONUR to have a rusher. And since most rushers, I mean, Dragon would work, but that also means that you're probably either swinging like 8-8-8-9 or 7-8-9-9. And if Justin knows that he can counter a single 7 or 8, he's also fine against Dragon. So ONUR giving, what was it, like 4 2Ks there? The swing was for 12, so we probably gave like triple 2K, a 1K and lead ability. And now ONUR draws his first 5-cast Shanks. He did have a Red Hawk in life, but they are just wrapping up the game and going into game 3. ONUR trying to skim through his deck in search of his dragon or other pieces that could help him. Alright, so Justin tying it up. We are going into a game 3. And yeah, ONUR drawing that first Dawn, going first again in this last deciding match. Justin on 2, do we see a Spandam or some cycle? We don't. Back to ONUR, who just quickly swings for 8, which Justin obviously takes. No trigger, going to his 4 Dawn turn. Do we see a Kusan here? Mimicking our game 1. But Justin is thinking quite a bit. Maybe he's contemplating if it's even worth to put down the Kusan yet. Or if he should maybe do it next turn so he can accompany it with a leader swing and also go for a leader swing right now, maybe playing down a Brook. Like 6k in Brook here could make sense, but he just goes for a 5k, milling a Kusan and a Tsuru. And just playing a Rebecca to retrieve Kusan from trash. Interesting. So ONUR just going for the 5k, so probably having a 5-drop lined up and ready, but it's not an ace, it's just a Silver's Rayleigh. So having the Kusan on board already would have gone a long way here. But you are happy to at least see that it's something that you can remove. So 7k and Kusan here seems like a very natural line. Even a 6k swing would only get blocked and lead abilitied, so curious why Justin doesn't go for the 7k and play Kusan. Because no matter what you play, it's gonna get... Okay. He just wants to instantly remove this Rayleigh. Interesting. And deciding to bot deck Spandine, so he must have another one in hand. Otherwise you would never do that. And ONUR going for the 5k into ace and keeping 2 Dawn open for a devastating Red Hawk, which will snipe this Rebecca. But yeah, I mean the point of not playing Kusan there last turn was obviously to not get Ben Beckman. But yeah, I find it hard to evaluate. I think it's fair, like if you get Ben Beckman there, then you're still on the back foot once again. Starting off with the 5k, which gets lead abilitied, and now going into Gecko for not going for Kuzan once again. Oh yeah, because he doesn't have one. Now he has them. Taking it back with Rebecca because that's his only target actually. So really weird sequence of draws and mills there from Justin. So we now know that he has double Kuzan in hand, which, I mean, 7k swing double Kuzan. There have been worse 10 on turns. But this dragon is putting on a lot of pressure, potentially knocking Justin down to 2 life here already. And I think, yeah, this 9k just goes face. You don't even want to give this Lucci into trash. But still looking a lot better than game 1 for Justin, I think. ONUR with 4 or 5 in hand, 5 in hand. I think this Gecko would really like to swing into the ace. And then maybe we can go for Ice Age or Tempest Kick with Gecko to remove this dragon. We don't have a Lucci in trash, but we can just swing with the one we have on board and then overplay it, resulting in potentially a full board clear. Yeah, I think I like starting 9k with Gecko into ace. Any swing live, ONUR would probably just take, and now you finally got rid of this. So you can follow up with a 6k, 6k, and then event into the aforementioned Gecko combo, because as I said, I'm pretty sure that Justin has a Spandine in hand. Otherwise he would not have bot decked the one he had in trash instead of the Spandam. Like, he decided to keep a Spandam in trash, but yeah, he has quite a lot of cards in hand. 8 or 9, and only ONUR is at 4. But yeah, maybe Justin simply doesn't have another Gecko. But so far everything's lining up to be the play that I've sort of assumed. But it's not going to be. It's just Kuzan Sabo. Nope. I'm wrong on everything. It's Rebecca for Brook. And Sabo. Okay. Yeah, you cannot remove this dragon, so you are scared for your life and simply want to block her up as much as possible while still developing some attackers yourself. You were at least able to remove this ace this turn. Have quite a healthy grip. We're able to retrieve a 2k. 9k is just gonna be blocked by Rebecca for sure. And then our first 10 drop actually of the match coming down, taking Sabo's ability for a free block away, swinging 5 into the 3k Brook, I would assume. Justin's actually contemplating to counter this. This Brook might be the difference between him being able to clear something or not. But letting it go eventually, and then this Shanks block, this Shanks swing targeted at probably Gecko will then take the Sabo block, I assume. Yes. So now we are facing down a 10 drop, which is definitely not an easy thing to deal with, especially after we saw previously that Justin doesn't seem to have a wide array of reduction events in his hand. So let's see how or if he can deal with this board. So checking his trash sort of screams, hey, I have a Gecko. But I mean, you could check your trash for various reasons. ONUR is at 5 cards in hand, I think, while Justin seems to be at 8 or even 9. So ONUR was probably asking on target there, but for Tempest Kick you get to draw first and then decide your target. And that looks like it actually went on to Shanks. So we see another Tempest there, putting Shanks down to 4 cost, which then will be able to be removed with a Gecko line. I guess something like Rebecca for Spanda and Khalifa into Lucci would also work, or a 6k leader swing into Jack. Many different ways that Lucci can go. Which is the one that Justin will go down. Yeah, so no Gecko coming down. Looks like it's gonna be that Jack. Getting a 2k on this swing. Playing down the Jack. Cycling one of those Kuzans we still knew about. And then going 6 and 9. Which will eventually lead to ONUR being at 5 cards in hand on his next turn. But Justin passing the turn with no active blockers, and this dragon is still sticking around, so another dragon would be absolutely devastating here, resulting in potentially triple 9k swings. And since he's starting off with a 9k, I kind of have the feeling that that's what we're going to see. That would obviously put Justin down to 0 life and take 3 cards from his hand at least. And Justin's board, although representing 4 attacks, might not be able to get there against Shanks's high density of 2k counters. So if there's another dragon here, Justin would need to be able to have 4 2ks and 2 1ks in his hand to get out of double 9ks. And yeah, there is indeed the dragon. Otherwise, the 9k swing first doesn't make that much sense. So just sending everything face here. 5 cards in hand, or 4 cards in hand for ONUR. 4 cards, yeah. Forcing Justin to eventually go for game next turn. And ONUR still has the flexibility of just keeping 2 Don open and being super safe. But now he's just forcing Justin to give him 3 cards. And since there might be a Gold Roger also looming in the air, Justin's highest EV play is probably to just go for game. Four cards in hand isn't super great. If it's quadruple 2k, of course, you are guaranteed to survive. What's the best split that Justin can do here? We will just put everything to 9k first, see how much that leaves us with. So 4 to Lucci, 1 to Jack, and 3 to Lucci character would leave us with 2 Don. So we could go something like 9, 9, 10, 10. But we would rather do something like 8, 9, 10, 11. I think that seems like the best option probably. But he's actually starting with a 6k. So he's actually not going to go for game here, which means he has enough enough reduction to actually clear this board, which is very interesting. Like if you put down the Rebecca, you, I guess, always just die to Gold Roger. Although if you clear the board, grab a 2k with Rebecca, maybe you can get enough counter to survive the Roger. He has 5 or 6 in hand. 6 in hand. So is he still thinking on what to discard with Jack? No. And I'm not sure it's 6 in hand. Might be 5, sorry. What did he discard with Jack? Because the Tempest is on top. And the Tempest he definitely played. Or is he going Rebecca Sabo? Okay. So, I mean, you're obviously always dead to Roger. How much counter did he have? Huh. He had 2k, 1k, a Gecko. Not that much. So he always dies to, even if he full clears, he would also die to Roger. But I think it's very reasonable to say that the odds of him having Roger is smaller than him surviving the onslaught of attacks. So, thanks for watching.